I think employability is all about standing out and being able to navigate that tricky transition from the classroom space to the workplace. I also think employability is about challenging yourself, and that's what we try to do in the School of East Asian Studies. We want our students to be ambitious and have high aspirations, and we want to help them create a foundation on which to build a bright and successful future. We place particular emphasis on cultural agility and awareness, and that's particularly important for the year abroad, for example, which is a hugely life-changing opportunity for many of our students, and it increases their skills of self-awareness, adaptability, flexibility that help them to become global citizens by the time they graduate. And because of our highly interdisciplinary degree programs, it does mean that our students do develop quite a comprehensive set of transferable skills, which means that they are suited to a number of different job roles and different professional working sectors in a global context. I think in a competitive market, it's always important to be present, engaged and open to trying new things. I think it's important to just say yes more often when opportunities present themselves. I also think networking is incredibly important. Being able to initiate those important conversations and introductions can open doors. And that's something that we try to do on a regular basis within our department for our students. We have alumni events, we have employers come in, so students can make an informed decision about what they want to do after they graduate, and they have the tools to be able to follow their own aspirations in that way. The School of East Asian Studies is all about learning about new places, people and cultures and the wider world that we live in. So when you combine that with our employability events and the support that we have in that area, it produces students who are independent thinkers and who recognise themselves as being a part of this wider global professional context.